Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday, or, in this case, a Kempo technique Saturday. Again, I use the Kempos in my school just as an adjunct or a corollary to our Seidokan techniques. Now in Seidokan number 3, for example, we have the block and grab. I prefer to parry and grab. It's hard to catch somebody's hand when they're punching, unless it's a full-on committed haymaker kind of a thing. That's a little easier to block, catch, injure, etc. But in the course of a real fight, trying to grab something is kind of hard. But it's almost always easier, although still hard, and sometimes not even doable, to capture a hand. It's easier if you softly guided it into your grabbing position as opposed to a block and then trying to grab. So I typically will add what I call the double circle blocking. You'll see Sensei Nicks do this as well. It's pretty common to soften and then go into the block/grab. And on our Seidokan 3 then, we grab the arm, twist, mawashigeri to the bent over opponent. This is similar, but on the inside of the punch. In Kempo number 9, our technique starts by moving into a cat stance, again with a parry, as I yield a little bit of space, execute what would be the knife hand block, but immediately going into the grab. Now you'll also see this as we step back in Seidokan, or in Seisan Kata, in our Seidokan Kata. In Seisan, we step back, block, drop that front heel. We're doing essentially the same thing here, but with a cat stance. Why the heel drop here? Part of that is to remind me to move my foot. Some of this will depend on distance. If I've stepped to here and blocked, and then I want to lift up and do a front kick, I'm way too close. So the heel drop from my cat stance can be a distance adjuster to give me room to kick. And that distance adjuster works the other way as well. If I've yielded too much, and I've maybe caught his hand way out here away from me, then the dropping of my heel can be a step forward as I come into the kick. Secondly, Seidokan number 9 is sort of just an extension, Kempo number 9 is sort of just an extension of Kempo number 8. It's essentially the same thing. I get kind of picky about this, and it's not that it really matters, but in Kempo 8, we have done a ball of the foot, maigeri, the standard maigeri, and then an instep of the foot, roundhouse. We're going to reverse that for Kempo number 9, and instead we're going to do an instep of the foot on the first kick, coming in, up and in, and then the ball of the foot kick. So we're changing the sequence a little bit, or the foot position on each one, inverting it from Kempo 8 to Kempo 9. So Kempo 8, way back before, ball of the foot, then the instep of the foot for your roundhouse, and invert those to instep of the foot, ball of the foot on 9. Then, also on 9, we add a thrusting kick. And where that comes in, we've parried, captured, covered that, thrown our instep kick up into the groin. Usually there's a lot of leeway on where you can target kicks, punches, and so forth. But in the Kempo system, we're trying to be very specific about where we target, because hitting a certain target, done properly, right situation and timing and so forth, hitting a certain target causes a certain physical response. This is why the short roundhouse kick. If I've kicked a guy here, pretty much we know what happens. There's, if not a bending over completely, there's at least a buckling, and the height changes on your opponent if you've nailed them there. Sometimes you don't even have to actually hit them. You just have to fake it and you go, huh. Okay? In real combat, in a real fight, however, sometimes you hit them and nothing happens. So be ready for whatever. So we've done double circle, knife hand, grab, drop, adjust distance as needed, instep kick, immediately pivoting, roundhouse with the ball of the foot. Now here we're going to step down And with our other hand, we're going to lift that arm up. I like to strike with the open tiger's mouth using this nice little nub of my knob in here. This little piece right here to hit up and in. And if I do that hard and hit that wrist, if you had a weapon or whatever, it gives me a little bit of a hold, okay? So we've done the 2 kicks, 1, 2. Now I step down, I'm gonna strike, grab up. I can also, at that point, grab his hand and bend, but the main goal of this lifting is to expose his ribs nicely for me here, where we then side thrust kick and cover step away. That's Kempo 9 in a nutshell. Double block, instep, ball of the foot, lift, thrusting kick, cover step. However many covers are needed for situational awareness, spatial differentiation. Now, side note here, hardly any technique is going to work exactly as we practice it in the dojo. When I'm teaching my kids, I love to ask them, okay, and if I do this, what's going to happen? He's dead. No, he's not dead. Maybe he's hurt, maybe he's distracted, but in any case, I need to get away and be prepared for whatever might be next, or to follow up as necessary. That concept of, oh, he's dead, that overreaction, we tend to think that way in karate. I punched him, it's going to knock him out. Oh, this strike will break the ribs, this strike will do that. Watch any karate video, instructional, and that's what they will tell you. Yes, that's the hope. I actually taught a technique, a defense against an overhead strike, and I had a student in Las Vegas who was a professional poker player, and the next day he came to class and said, that technique against the hitting on the head, the club attack, doesn't work. I go, okay, there's a story here, I want to hear this. He said, well, I did the block like you said, and I pulled him down, and then I did this, and then I knocked him out, and he was unconscious, and I got away. But this part, his arm didn't break. So you successfully survived the club attack. You basically used the technique as I gave it to you. You did knock the guy out, and you're complaining the technique doesn't work because his arm didn't break. But that's kind of the thinking that we get into, that our technique has to work exactly as it's written. Nobody expects that, okay? But we practice these positions for what I call in wrestling positional recognition or situational recognition. When we coached wrestling, we put our wrestlers into positions so that they could feel that body position, so that in a match, when that body position occurred, they would know how to respond. Chess players, same thing. The masters will literally memorize entire games of other masters so that when they're playing, their memory can kick in and go, oh, I've seen this chessboard before. So-and-so did such and such and was able to successfully extricate himself and achieve. They know that position. They've seen it before. It's memorized. Did they know that that exact position was going to come up in this game right now? No, because the other guy has a bunch of positions memorized too, and he might be playing off a different script. But for that moment, that snapshot, they recognize, boom. And from here, this is my best of all of the options that I've seen, and they'll make their move. Same thing in karate. We don't know that this punch is going to knock somebody out. I hope, but I don't know. We don't know that this kick is going to bend him over 19 degrees with a slight cant to the left and his head turned. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but if I practice that and other positional situations enough, then that recognition can kick in and I can do whatever's hopefully successful, effective in that particular situation. So I don't necessarily expect everything to go according to script, but we write a script anyway. Doing Shakespeare plays, we have an entire script, had to memorize 600 lines of Petruchio and Taming of the Shrew, and one night forgot a line and had to make something up to get the play moving back on. My iambic pentameter sucked, but I got the keywords in that allowed Kate to move on and do her next speech. So even though we have a script, we know that sometimes we're going to have to ad lib and move off it. But here's the script. That said, Kempo 9, cat stance, double block, grab, adjust the foot as necessary, front asoko maigeri, mawashigeri, ball of the foot, step down, lift the arm, opening the ribs, thrust kick, cover step away, as needed. That's Kempo 9. Now, variations can be, instead of a double circle cat stance block, maybe I just blocked with my knife hand, maybe I just threw my hands up and got lucky and got a hold of his sleeve. That happened, okay? Maybe instead of a groin kick, his legs are in a position where it's better to do a toe kick to his thigh or a ball of the foot kick to his knee. So I make the adjustments as needed. And height of the kick, depending on my bursitis and arthritis that day, what pants you're wearing, how old or young you are, your flexibility, where his hip, those things all are variable, okay? One thing that can be done for the athletically, youthfully inclined is as that punch comes, if I'm in the middle of a fight or if I'm standing here, nothing, sometimes if you've ever been surprised and you've kind of hopped, I'm going to use that hop to immediately hop and kick. So right away, first move, hop, kick, and then we finish the technique, okay? So there are other things that can happen, but we put ourselves through repeated practice into that situational recognition. That's it for today. Thank you for joining. Kempo 9 as an adjunct corollary for cover steps, repeated kicks, follow through after. Maybe I lift the guy's arm and side thrust kick him after Seidokan number 3. All sorts of possibilities. Thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Welcome to the new subscribers. Tell a joke, ask a question, you know the drill. But as always, until next week, keep practicing.